Good morning, everyone. Buenos
días a todos.
My name is Judge Tamika West.
Soy la juez Tamika West.
I'm a magistrate court judge in Clayton County.
Soy una de las jueces de la sala menor de primera instancia del condado de Clayton.
And I will be presiding over your first appearance hearing this morning.
Y voy a presidir sobre esta comparecencia inicial esta mañana.
We are streaming live via YouTube.
Estamos transmitiendo esta sesión en vivo por medio de YouTube.
However, you should treat these proceedings as if you're in an actual courtroom.
Sin embargo, ustedes deberían considerar este proceso como estar en cualquier sala de juicio.
Okay, if everyone will please raise their right hand so I can swear them in.
Por favor, se pueden levantar la mano derecha y tomar el juramento.
Okay, do you swear and affirm
Juran y afirman
that the information
que la información
that you give to the court today,
que van a dar en el tribunal aquí hoy,
including the information on your application for a court-appointed counsel,
incluida la información que va incluida en la solicitud para el abogado de oficio,
is true and correct?
es correcta y verdadera?
Okay, if that's a yes, I need to hear a yes from everyone.
Si la respuesta es sí, por favor que digan sí.
Okay, you can each put your hands down.
Ya pueden bajar la mano.
I will now make some opening remarks
Ahora voy a dar mis comentarios iniciales
regarding your legal rights.
con respecto a los derechos legales que tienen.
Please pay close attention
Por favor, pongan atención
and bear with me since one of the inmates requires an interpreter.
y tenga paciente porque uno de los detenidos requiere intérprete.
This is your first appearance before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County.
Esta audiencia es la comparecencia inicial aquí ante la sala menor del Tribunal de Primera Instancia del Condado de Clayton.
We are not here to try your case today or to take a plea.
Hoy no estamos aquí para someter su causa a juicio, tampoco para aceptar una declaración o acusaciones.
You are here for the court to inform you of the charges against you.
Estamos aquí para que yo como juez le informe de las acusaciones en su contra,
Advise you of certain rights,
para que le advierte de ciertos derechos que tiene,
set bail on those offenses for which the court is authorized to set bail,
para que yo le imponga fianza que corresponde a las acusaciones las cuales tengo la autorización para imponer fianza.
We're also here to schedule a preliminary hearing
También estamos aquí para que yo programe su audiencia preliminar
and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney.
y también para que yo determine si ustedes requieren el asesoramiento de un abogado.
You have the right to remain silent and say nothing.
Tienen el derecho a permanecer callados sin decir nada.
But should you choose to give up this right,
Pero si eligen renunciar a ese derecho,
anything you say during these proceedings
cualquier cosa que digan durante ese proceso
may be used against you if your case goes to trial.
se puede tomar en su contra si el caso procede a juicio.
Doing this and all other proceedings, you have the right to the presumption of innocence
Durante esta diligencia judicial y cualquiera ulterior, gozarán de la presunción de inocencia,
until the state proves your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
hasta que el Estado haya podido probar su culpabilidad fuera de una duda razonable.
You also have the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies,
Además, tiene derecho a que el gran jurado emite una acusación formal cuando se trata de delitos graves
or accusations for misdemeanors.
o que le formule una acusación general cuando se trata de delitos menores.
You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury.
tiene derecho a un juicio público y sin demora ante un jurado.
You have the right to see, hear, and cross-examine all witnesses who are called to testify against you.
También tienen derecho a ver, a escuchar y a contrainterrogar todo testigo convocado a declarar en su contra.
You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own behalf by subpoena.
Tiene derecho de obligar la presencia de testigos para declarar a su favor por medio de citación judicial.
You also have the right to offer other evidence in your own defense should you choose to do so.
También tiene el derecho de presentar pruebas para su propia defensa si eligen hacerlo.
But should you choose not to do so,
Pero si eligen no hacerlo,
no presumption of your guilt may be raised.
no se puede tomar por sentado una presunción de culpabilidad de su parte.
You also have the right to have an attorney represent you
También tiene derecho a un abogado para representarlo
during these proceedings and all other court proceedings.
en esta diligencia judicial y cualquier otra en el futuro.
Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail.
Algunos de ustedes se le permitirán depositar fianza sin restricciones para poder salir de la cárcel.
This may be by cash, commercial, or property.
La fianza se puede tramitar depositando efectivo, tramitando la fianza a través de una compañía comercial de fianzas o poniendo de garantía una propiedad.
If you post a cash bond,
Si va a depositar la fianza en efectivo,
someone will deliver the full amount of the bond in cash,
una persona tendrá que entregar el total de la fianza en efectivo,
together with any applicable mandated fees to the sheriff's office.
junto con cualquier tarifa obligatorio a la comisaría del sheriff,
Who will hold it until your final court date.
el cual guardará el dinero hasta su audiencia definitiva,
At which time the cash bond will be returned to the person who posted it.
y en ese momento se devolverá el dinero de fianza en efectivo a la persona que lo puso.
If you use a commercial bonding company approved by the sheriff,
Si elige usar una de las compañías de fianzas aprobadas por la comisaría del sheriff,
someone would have to pay the company up to 15% of the total bond amount
una persona tendría que pagar hasta un 15% de la fianza total a la compañía de fianzas
as their fee for their service.
como a la tarifa de servicio,
This fee will not be returned.
y esa tarifa no se devuelve.
Someone may post a bond using their property
Una persona puede depositar fianza a través de usando su propiedad.
if they have net equity in the property
Si tiene un patrimonio neto en la propiedad,
in an amount equal to 3 times the total bond amount.
que es una cantidad igual a 3 veces lo que es el valor de la fianza.
Some of you will have special conditions on your bond order
Algunos de ustedes tendrán una orden de fianza que conlleva condiciones especiales,
that prohibit you from contacting certain people
las cuales les prohíbe tener contacto con ciertas personas
or going to or around certain places.
o acercarse a ciertos lugares.
This special condition will be
Esa
provided on your bond order.
Las condiciones especiales estarán proporcionadas en la orden de fianza.
You will also be prohibited from calling or having other contact with the alleged victim while you're in jail or out on bond.
También, mientras están detenidos en la cárcel o en libertad bajo fianza, se les prohíbe tener contacto con la presunta víctima.
Should you violate the court's order,
Si llega a violar o infringir esa orden judicial,
your bond will be revoked
su fianza quedará revocada
and you will not be entitled to another bond while awaiting trial.
y no tendrá derecho a otra fianza mientras está esperando el juicio de su caso.
An additional charge of aggravating stalking
También se le puede formular una acusación adicional de hostigamiento con agravantes,
influencing witnesses,
de influenciar a testigos
or other charges as the law may provide,
o otras acusaciones según dispone la ley
could be brought against you,
que se pueden formular en su contra,
for which you could be sentenced up to 10 years in prison
por las cuales se le puede imponer una pena de hasta 10 años de cárcel, de prisión, perdón,
and fined up to $20,000.
con una multa de hasta $20,000.
For family members who will assist you in posting bond,
Para los familiares que le van a ayudar a tramitar la fianza,
they will be provided with information of your bond amount,
a ellos se les van a proporcionar información sobre la cantidad de la fianza
after we have concluded the first appearance calendar this morning.
después de concluir esta audiencia de la comparecencia inicial esta mañana.
If a family member is a victim on the warrant,
Si la familiar o él o la familiar resulta ser la presunta víctima que aparece en la orden de arresto,
and there is a special condition that you're to have no contact with that family member,
y existe una condición especial que usted no tenga ningún contacto con ese familiar,
he or she will not be allowed to post the bond on your behalf.
no se le permitirá a él o a ella depositar la fianza por usted.
Some of you are charged with offenses
Algunos de ustedes tienen acusaciones,
for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail.
las cuales yo como juez no tengo la autorización de imponerle fianza.
In this event,
Si ese es su caso,
a bond will be scheduled before a superior court judge
se programará una audiencia ante un juez de la sala superior
and you will be informed of that date at your today at your first appearance.
y hoy en esta comparecencia inicial se le vamos a informar de la fecha.
If you are currently on active probation,
Si actualmente está cumpliendo una condena de libertad condicional,
this court is not authorized to set bond for you today.
yo como juez no tengo la autorización para imponerle fianza en este momento.
Your bond can be reconsidered
Puede haber una reconsideración de la fianza
after your probation officer has an opportunity to determine if they wish to file a warrant.
después de que su agente de libertad condicional tenga la oportunidad de determinar si le va a emitir una orden de arresto en su contra
For violation of your probation,
por haber infringido las normas de su libertad condicional.
usually during your preliminary hearing.
Normalmente eso sucede durante su audiencia preliminar.
The purpose of a preliminary hearing
El propósito de la audiencia preliminar
is to determine if there's enough evidence
es para determinar si existen suficientes indicios
or probable cause
o justificación probable
to justify keeping you detained
para justificar su detención
until such time as your case goes to trial.
hasta que su caso proceda a juicio.
For those of you charged with misdemeanors only,
Para ustedes que solamente tienen infracciones menores,
you will not have the option, you will have the option of waiving your preliminary hearing.
tendrán la opción a renunciar a la audiencia preliminar.
Waiving your preliminary hearing
Renunciar a la audiencia preliminar
will not affect your right to post bond,
no afectará su derecho de salir en libertad bajo fianza,
your right to have an attorney represent you,
su derecho a un abogado para representarle.
or your right to a jury trial.
Tampoco le afectará en su derecho a un juicio por jurado.
If you post bond,
Pero si deposita fianza,
your preliminary hearing is automatically waived,
la audiencia preliminar quedará renunciada automáticamente
and you will be mailed a notice when to appear in state court for your arraignment.
y se le enviará por correo una notificación de la fecha de su próxima comparecencia en la sala estatal.
If you cannot make bond,
Si no puede depositar la fianza,
you may waive your preliminary hearing
puede renunciar a la audiencia preliminar
and be taken before a state court judge
para pasar ante un juez de la sala estatal.
at which time, if you plead guilty,
Y luego, si en esa audiencia se declara culpable,
you will be sentenced.
se le impondrá la condena.
If you plead not guilty,
Si se declara no culpable,
a trial will be scheduled on your behalf.
se programará una audiencia, perdón, un juicio por usted.
If you choose to have a misdemeanor preliminary hearing,
Si elige tener la audiencia preliminar sobre sus infracciones menores,
your hearing will be scheduled for November the 29th, 2022
la audiencia queda programada para el 29 de noviembre de 2022
at 8:30 a.m.
a las 8:30 de la mañana
via Zoom.
por medio de Zoom.
For those of you charged with felony offenses,
Para los que tienen delitos graves,
you will not have the option of waiving your preliminary hearing.
no tienen la opción a renunciar a la audiencia preliminar.
Your preliminary hearing is scheduled for November the 28th, 2022
Para ustedes, la audiencia preliminar queda programada para el 28 de noviembre de 2022
at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom.
a las 8:30 de la mañana por medio de Zoom.
That will conclude my opening remarks.
Así se concluyen mis comentarios iniciales.
At this time, I will take the first inmate that requires an interpreter. And then I'll do the extradition hearing deputy. Okay, state your full name for me.
Buenos días, señora. Diga su nombre completo, por favor.
María Rodríguez.
María Vejegues.
Rodríguez.
Maria Rodriguez.
You have been charged with 4 offenses.
A usted se le han imputado 4 infracciones.
The first offense is speeding in violation of Georgia law.
La primera es manejar en exceso de velocidad contraviniendo la ley de Georgia.
Your bond amount is $500.
La fianza para esa infracción es $500.
The second offense is revalidation of your decal was not properly displayed on your vehicle.
La segunda infracción es que no quedó correctamente exhibido la pegatina de revalidación en el vehículo.
Your bond amount is $500.
Para esa infracción, la fianza está $500.
The third offense is violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act.
Luego, la tercera infracción es infringir la ley de Georgia sobre sustancias reguladas.
Your bond amount is $5,000.
La fianza es $5,000.
And then the fourth offense is driving while unlicensed.
Luego, la cuarta infracción es manejar sin licencia.
Your bond amount is $1,000.
Y la fianza para esa infracción es $1,000.
Therefore, your total bond amount is $7,000.
Por lo tanto, el total de la fianza está en $7,000.
Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount?
¿Entiende, señora, las infracciones y también la fianza?
Sí.
Yes.
Can you make bond?
¿Puede depositar fianza, señora, para salir?
Ahora mismo.
Right now?
Yes.
Sí.
Necesito llamar. Todavía no me han dado derecho a llamar.
I need to make a phone call. I haven't been given the right to make a phone call.
Okay.
Está bien.
Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th.
La segunda cosa es que ya programé su audiencia preliminar para la fecha 28 de noviembre
2022
2022
at 8:30 a.m.
a las 8:30 de la mañana.
Lastly, I've approved your application for a court-appointed attorney.
Y por último, ya aprobé la solicitud que usted presentó para el abogado de oficio.
Do you have any questions?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta, señora?
Sí,
Yes.
Okay, your question.
Adelante. ¿Cuál es su
I'll take
pregunta?
one question.
Tomaré una pregunta.
tengo la opción para pagar el bond hoy mismo o tengo que estar acá hasta la fecha de juicio.
So I have the option to pay the bond today, or do I have to be here until the date of trial?
No, I've set bonds, so you have the option of paying the bond today. The paperwork, I'll sign the order today, setting the bond, and then from there you can make arrangements.
No, señora, como ya le impuse la fianza, tiene la opción de depositar la fianza hoy mismo. Como ya firmé la documentación, puede hacer los arreglos de fianza ya.
Y si no tengo a alguien para pagar toda esa cantidad, puedo usar una agencia de bond.
And if I don't have someone to pay that bond amount, I can use a bonding company.
Yes, that's something you can speak with the jail about.
Sí, y puede preguntar en la cárcel al respecto.
Okay, that will conclude our first appearance hearing for today.
Está bien, su audiencia inicial queda concluida para el día de hoy.
Thank you.
Gracias.
So deputies, I don't think we need anyone else that requires an interpreter. Ms. Ruth's the next inmate that requires the extradition hearing. Does she need an interpreter?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so it is just to confirm, is it any other inmates that need a Spanish interpreter?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Dawes, you're free to go.
Thank you. You all have a great day.
Thank you. Okay, I'll take, is it defendant Roots, Alyssa? Good morning. My name is Judge Tamika West, and I will be presiding over your extradition hearing this morning. First, a fugitive warrant has been issued for your arrest. You do not have charges pending against you here in Clayton County. You have been brought to the court today because you have charges pending against you in Texas, and that state is asking that you return to answer a charge of theft. In accordance with the laws of the state of Georgia, you are brought before me for an explanation of these proceedings. You have the right to contest the legality of the warrant in all extradition proceedings, or you may waive your right to extradition proceedings and voluntarily return to the state requesting your detention. Before you inform me of whether or not you wish to waive extradition, let me explain the following rights. First, you have the right to be represented by an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you. If you desire to contest the legality of the extradition proceedings, then you must file or have filed on your behalf what we call a writ of habeas corpus. You will be allowed on a reasonable amount of time to file your writ. You may file a writ of habeas corpus to contest the extradition on 4 grounds. The first is whether or not the extradition documents are in order on their face. Secondly, whether you are charged with a crime in the demanding state. In this case, that would be Texas. Thirdly, whether you are the person named in the request for extradition. And fourth, whether or not you are in fact a fugitive. You cannot contest the issue of your guilt or innocence in this state. You are entitled to the advice of counsel in deciding whether to contest or waive extradition if you so desire. If you waive extradition, the state of Texas will have 30 days to come and get you. If Texas has not picked you up in 30 days, you will be released. If you contest the extradition and the state is unable to extradite you within 30 days, you may be committed to the county jail for an additional 60 days awaiting the extradition. After explaining your rights, please let me know if you wish to waive your extradition and be returned to the state of Texas, or do you wish to have a formal extradition proceedings? If you are waiving your rights, you are making this decision freely and voluntarily. Do you understand your rights as I've explained them to you today?
Yes, can you please repeat, sorry, it was loud in here. Can you please repeat what you said with the 60 days?
If you contest the extradition and the state is unable to extradite you within 30 days, you will be committed to the county jail for an additional 60 days while awaiting your extradition. If you contest, if you waive extradition, the state of Texas will have 30 days to come and get you. If the state of Texas has not picked you up in 30 days, you will be released.
I understand, Your Honor. I will waive the extradition. I voluntarily waive it.
Okay. If you voluntarily waive it, then I will need for you to sign 6 copies of the extradition form that the deputies will provide you with, and then they'll return the waivers to me for me to sign.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions?
Will that be done today or?
Yes, I will sign the waiver today.
Okay. No, I don't.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll start with the first female inmate, deputies. Okay, if you could state your full name for me.
Adia Anderson.
Ms. Anderson, you've been charged with 3 offenses. The first offense is simple assault. Your bond amount is $4,000. The second offense is battery. Your bond amount is $5,000. And then the third offense is cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Your bond amount is $3,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on your bond order. And I didn't give you the total. The total of your bond will be $12,000. So that's 4 for the simple assault, 5 for the battery, and then 3 for the cruelty to children. So the total for that will be $12,000. If you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on your bond. The first condition is you're to have no contact with the alleged victim identified as Sharmat Anderson. Do you recognize that name?
That's my mother, yes.
Because she's the alleged victim in the case, you must stay away absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by pager, by text message, by social media, by telephone, or through a third person from Ms. Anderson's home and her workplace. You understand that? Secondly, because the alleged incident occurred at 5447 Frontier Court, Ellenwood, Georgia, you're not to return to that location while you're out on bond. Is that your primary residence?
Yes.
Okay, if that's your primary residence, unfortunately, you would have to make other arrangements. However, I will include a provision in the bond order that will allow you to make an appointment with the sheriff's office within 10 days of your release to return to that location to retrieve any undisputed personal property. You understand that? You also cannot violate any laws while out on bond. I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Since you've been charged with misdemeanors only, you do have the option of waiving your preliminary hearing. Would you like to waive it?
Would you
Or
mind
you have
explaining,
the option of waiving it or keep it on the calendar?
the waiver, please?
So, yeah, so waiving your preliminary, if you bond out, you will automatically waive your preliminary hearing. The purpose of the preliminary hearing is to determine if there is sufficient evidence to continue to detain you. But if you bond out, it's no reason for the preliminary hearing. You understand that? And your case will be scheduled for trial. So do you want to leave it on the calendar if you're unsure?
I would like to waive.
Okay, if you waive it, then you'll need to sign a waiver from the deputy. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then I see here that you did complete a request for court-appointed counsel. You do qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so therefore I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Make sure to get that waiver from the deputy.
You're gonna
Yes, ma'am.
print your name here, and then you're gonna sign here.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Anderson. Okay, deputies, I'm ready for the next inmate. It'll be, I believe it's Jasmine Budget.
Yes.
Hi, Ms. Budget. Good morning. How are you doing? Ms. Budget, you've been charged with one count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act with, it says possession, control, manufacture, distribution, disposal in the cell in violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Your bond, which is considered a felony. Your bond amount is $6,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yeah.
You say no?
Yes, ma'am.
Can, okay. Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Would you like to waive your, I'm sorry, it's a felony, so I'm gonna leave it on the calendar, okay? Because that'll be your next court date.
Okay.
And then you did complete a request for court-appointed counsel. You would qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so therefore I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Is it Jerica Budget?
Yes, ma'am.
You related to Ms. Jasmine?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you're unrelated, okay. Your last name is spelled Budgett? Okay. Ms. Budget, you've been charged with one offense of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Your bond amount is $6,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date?
Yes, ma'am.
And based on your application for court-appointed counsel, you would qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, state your full name for me.
Keisha Lemon, and good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Lemon is your last name?
Yeah. Yes, like the fruit.
Ms. Lemon, you've been charged with 3 offenses. The first offense is a hit and run. Your bond amount is $3,000. The second charge is an aggravated assault. Your bond amount is $20,000. And then the third offense is a simple battery. Your bond amount is $4,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $27,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes.
Okay, can you make bond?
Yes. Can you tell me what the 15% is from that?
Well, that's something you would have to speak to the bonding company about. I'm not involved in those arrangements. Okay, so I told you your bond amount is $27,000. You should be able to do the math on that. Okay, if you can make bond, there is going to be a no contact on the alleged victim in the case identified as Whitney Chelsom. Do you recognize that name?
Yeah, but I don't know her.
Okay, she was the driver of the other vehicle. Okay, so no contact means you must stay away absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by pagers, by text message, by social media, by telephone. You cannot contact her through a third person. You cannot go to her home or workplace. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date?
Yes, ma'am.
And then based on your application, you would qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lemon. Good luck. Okay, state your full name for me.
Brian Lou Martin.
Ms. Martin, you've been charged with 3 offenses. The first offense is forgery, 3rd degree. Your bond amount is $3,000. The second count is fictitious check. which means a false check, your bond amount is $2,000. And then the third charge is theft by deception, your bond amount is $3,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $8,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes.
Can you make bond? I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date? And then based on your application for court-appointed attorney, you would qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So therefore, I will approve your application. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Martin. Okay, please give me your full name. Your full name, ma'am?
Powers.
Ms. Powers. You've been charged with one offense of criminal trespass. Your bond amount is $1,500. That's $1,500. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes.
Can you make bond?
Yes.
Okay. If you can make bond, there will be a special condition included in your bond order. Specifically, you cannot return to the location where the incident occurred, which is 1123 Pine Meadows Drive, Clayton County, Georgia. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing or keep it on the calendar? I didn't hear you.
Keep it on the calendar.
Okay. And then based on your court-appointed application, you would qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, y'all.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Powers. State your full name for me.
Sarah Reed.
Ms. Reed, you've been charged with 2 offenses. The first offense is possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Your bond amount is $1,500. The second offense is violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Your bond amount is $5,000. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount? I didn't hear that. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date?
Yes, I do.
And based on your responses on your court-appointed application, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, that will conclude your first appearance hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Deputies, I'm assuming the forms for the mails the CAA form for the mails have been sent.
Yes, Your Honor, that should be in your inbox.
Okay, so let me check. I'm gonna go off the record briefly, and then once I have the forms, I will come back on the record to do the mails. Thank you.
Deputy P. Warren, Your Honor. Brian.
Okay, thank you. Give me a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, deputies, I have the CAA forms for the mayor, so we're back on the record. If you could present the first inmate to me, please.
If it's Mr. Bell, Your Honor, he's gonna be continued. He's been non-compliant for the last 2 hours. I continue him, Your Honor.
Oh, I hate to do continuance. Why you let me know that? I could have took him beforehand.
My apologies. I mean, we can bring him down. Can we do him last?
Yeah, we can do him later because I don't like to do continuance.
Yes,
We like
ma'am.
to get him done.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Warner?
So if that ever happens again, just let me know. I'll take him first. I know you have one that you requested, but he's already last on the list. So we'll take him I'll take Bell and then I'll take the one you asked for last.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, give me your full name, sir.
Terrion Bourne.
Mr. Barney, you've been charged with 2 offenses. The first offense is driving without a license. The bond amount is $1,000. And then the second charge is theft by receiving stolen property. The bond amount is $3,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $4,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You understand that's your next court date?
Yes, ma'am.
And you did complete an application for court-appointed counsel. Based on your application responses, you would qualify for an attorney. Court-appointed attorney, so I will appoint an attorney to represent you. You have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, please give me your name, sir.
Rick Brooks.
Brooks, you've been charged with 4 offenses. The first offense is violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Your bond amount is $5,000. The second charge is possession of a weapon during a crime. Your bond amount is $10,000. The third offense is dangerous drugs in a container. Your bond amount is $3,000. The fourth offense is use or possession of drug-related items. Your bond amount is $1,500. Therefore, your total bond is $19,000. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you make bond?
No.
Say no?
Yes, ma'am. We can.
You can. Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You understand that's your next court date?
No.
And then based on your responses here, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I will approve the application. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Akari Creek.
Okay, Mr. Creech, you came before me yesterday, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And we have your paperwork today, so thank you for your patience.
Yes, ma'am.
You've been charged with 3 offenses. The first offense is lawyering. Your bond amount is $1,000. The second offense is possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Your bond amount is $1,500. And then the third offense is theft by receiving stolen property. Your bond amount is $3,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $5,500. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amounts?
No.
Okay, you don't understand the charges?
I do.
Okay. Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You understand that's your next court date?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then lastly, you would qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I will approve your application. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Please state your full name for me.
Marcus Terrell Dean.
Mr. Dean, you've been charged with 1 offense of child abandonment. Your bond amount is $1,500. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You understand that's your next court date, sir? And then lastly, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I'll approve your application. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dean.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning. Give me your full name. I didn't hear you. I didn't hear it. Can you give it to me again? Are you saying Doe, D-O-E?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Doe, you've been charged with 5 offenses. The first offense is driving no tail lights. Your bond amount is $500. The second offense is driving without insurance. Your bond amount is $1,000. The third offense is violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Your bond amount is $5,000. There's also a second count for violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Your bond amount is $5,000. And then the fifth charge is being in possession of a weapon during a crime. Your bond amount is $10,000. Therefore, your total bond is $21,500. Do you understand the bond amounts as well as your charges?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you make bond?
No, I'm actually disabled and on a fixed income. Is there anything that you can do, like release me? I'm not trying to run. I'll deal with it.
No, unfortunately, so I'm not authorized to grant any OR bonds. Only the chief judge right here is authorized to do that. You understand that?
Yes.
However, based on your application, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I will approve a court-appointed attorney to represent you in those charges, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And then lastly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That will conclude your first appearance for today, sir. Thank you. Okay, please give me your full name.
Kevin Emmanuel Gibson.
And Gibson is G-I-B-S-O-N. Mr. Gibson, that's how you spell it?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
You've been charged with 4 charges. The first charge is battery, family violence. Your bond amount is $5,000. The second charge is terroristic threats in violation of state law. Your bond amount is $10,000. The fourth charge is aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Your bond amount is $20,000. The fourth charge is cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Your bond amount is $3,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $38,000. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount?
Your Honor.
Can you make bond?
I'm not sure.
Okay. If you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on the bond order. First, you must stay away from the alleged victim in the case, identified as Trinity Gibson. Do you recognize that name?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, who is that to you?
Well, her last name isn't Gibson, it's McGowan.
Okay, it is Gibson. Do you know her, if she used Gibson? You never heard of Gibson? Because it's in the warrant.
That's my last name, but that's not her last name.
Okay, well, it says Trinity Gibson. Okay, but you said it's McGowan?
Yes.
Okay. So who's that to you?
My baby mother.
Okay. So because she's the alleged victim in the case, you must stay away absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by pager, by text message, by social media, by telephone. You cannot contact her through a third person. You cannot contact her at home or workplace or go to her home or workplace. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Secondly, because the alleged incident occurred at 10458, is it Tabano Trail, Jonesboro, Georgia? You're not to return to that location while you're out on bond. Is that your primary residence?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And then last, you cannot violate any laws while out on bond. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
I've also scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And based on your responses on your court-appointed application, I will approve your application for a court-appointed attorney. Do you have any questions?
So I have no contact with her. How do I, or do a third party, how do I get my kids?
Well, that's something you can speak with your court-appointed attorney about, okay?
Your Honor?
Any other questions?
That'd be it.
You said yes?
I said that'd be it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good luck.
Well,
Okay, state your full name for me, sir.
Marcus Clayton Glover.
Okay. Mr. Glover, you've been charged with 1 count of battery family violence. Your bond amount is $6,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on your bond order. The first condition is you're to have no contact with the alleged victim in the case by the name of Kelly Wiles, W-I-L-E-S. Do you recognize that name? You recognize that name, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who's that to you?
Just a friend.
Okay, because she's the alleged victim in the case, there's a no contact, which means you must stay away absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by pager, by text message, by social media, by telephone. You cannot contact her through a third person. You cannot go to her home or workplace. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, you cannot violate any laws while out on bond.
Yes.
I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing or keep it on the court's calendar?
Keep it on calendar.
Okay. Thank you. And then you did complete an application for a court-appointed attorney. Based on your application responses, you would qualify, so I will approve your application. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Glover. Okay, state your full name for me.
Ricardo Salvador Gonzalez.
Mr. Gonzalez, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. Your bond amount is $1,500. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes.
Can you make bond?
I'm not sure.
Okay, you're not sure? Okay. If you can make bond, there will be a special condition included on your bond order. The first condition is you're not to return to the incident location identified as 1123 Pine Meadows Drive, Clayton County, Georgia. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then lastly, you did complete an application for a court-appointed attorney. Based upon your application, you will qualify, so I will approve your request. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, state your full name for me.
Michael Lamar Hammond.
Mr. Hammond, you've been charged with 1 count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Your bond amount is $6,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
At 6,000?
$6,000.
Yes, ma'am.
You make bond.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date?
Ma'am.
And then you did complete an application for court-appointed counsel. Based on your application responses, you would qualify, so I will approve your application. Do you have any questions?
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Judge, I'm gonna send you a message in the chat on that one you just did.
Okay. Is it something I need to know before they would take him back?
Yes.
You say yes?
Yes.
Okay, tell them to hold Hammond. Deputies?
Yes, ma'am.
You could hold the last inmate, Mr. Hammond.
You on the phone?
Yeah, if you could hold them real quickly for me.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I'll do the next inmate. Let me do the next inmate quickly.
Okay.
Okay, state your full name for me.
Brendan Hanlon.
Mr. Hanlon, You've been charged with 1 count of trafficking marijuana. Because of the nature of the charge, only a Superior Court judge can set bail for you. Therefore, there's a no bond. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. And let's see here. And then your bond hearing will be December the 2nd, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that?
You say that again?
Your bond hearing is scheduled for December 2nd, 2022. And then your preliminary hearing. So you have 2 hearings. The first hearing is November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. And then the second one is your bond hearing, December 2nd, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand the 2 different court dates? If you don't understand, I can explain.
I understand.
Okay. And looks like you did complete the application for a court-appointed attorney. See here. Based on your responses, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I will approve an attorney to represent you. You have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, deputy, let me clarify the charge on Hammond, and then I'll take the next inmate. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna go off the record briefly. Thank you.
Off the record briefly. Okay. You just hold right here.
Okay, but I apologize for that. We're back on the record. I need you to bring back Mr. Hammond. We need to correct the record on his charge because it was coded wrong on the bond order that's automatically generated. So I'll need to correct that on the record for Mr. Hammond. Is this Mr. Hammond?
Ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Hammond, unfortunately, the bond order that I had was coded incorrectly. So you've actually been charged with trafficking, and that's under, so that's under OCGA 16-13-31. So with a trafficking charge, only a superior court judge can set your bail. So there's a no bond on your charge. Do you understand the charge as well as the no bond?
No, ma'am, I do not, because they had told me anything less, it was 6 pounds of marijuana. They told me anything under 10 is not trafficking.
Who told you that?
The Atlanta Police Department, when they picked me up.
They said anything under what?
10 pounds is not trafficking. I got caught at the airport with 6 pounds of marijuana.
Well, the warrant says 7.10 pounds, but the unfortunately the officer has coded it as OCGA 16-13-31J. So unfortunately, because they've coded it under a trafficking charge, we're gonna have to schedule the preliminary, deny you bond and then schedule the preliminary hearing for it to be clarified. Usually the officer has to present himself at the preliminary hearing with respect to the warrant. You understand that?
I do, so I can't get that fixed today. It can't be fixed how he coded it now?
No, it cannot be fixed today.
Okay.
It cannot be fixed today, okay?
So
there is a no bond, there is a no bond on the charge. Because I'm a magistrate court judge, I'm not a superior court judge, so I can't set bond. I'm not legally authorized to do so.
Okay.
You understand that? I apologize for the confusion. It's just coded wrong on the bond order versus the warrant, okay?
Yes, ma'am. So how long would it possibly be to get that fixed?
Well, it'll be your preliminary hearing is going to be November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. So the purpose of the preliminary hearing is to determine if there's sufficient evidence to continue to detain you. So if it's coded wrong, that will be corrected on the preliminary hearing. You understand that? And then your bond will be reconsidered. Your bond hearing will be December 2nd, 2022 at 8:30 a.m.
Okay, so should I obtain my lawyer? Can my lawyer look into that or no?
Yes, your attorney can look into that.
Okay, and if my attorney look into it, can the court date be moved forward? Like, can it
No,
be?
the earliest we have on the calendar with the holidays is November 28th for felony. Because we only have one felony calendar a week. I'm sorry, 2 felony calendars, but it's full until November the 28th.
Okay.
You understand that?
Well, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I apologize for the misunderstanding.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Now, deputies, before we proceed, I do need for you to, we had 2 other inmates, female inmates that were actually had the same issue with their bond order and the actual warrant. So I'll need for you to bring back to me Jerika Budget and Jasmine Budget. So while you're doing that, I can continue with the males. Do you need their law enforcement number? Oh, they're here? Is that Jerika? Are you Jerika?
Jasmine.
Hold on.
Oh, you're Jasmine. Okay, I can do Jasmine first. So Jasmine.
Yes, ma'am.
After review of the warrant and the as well as the bond order, you've been charged with violation of Georgia law. It's coded as 16-13-30J, which is considered a trafficking charge. You understand that? So unfortunately, if it's a trafficking charge, as a magistrate court judge, I'm not authorized to set bond for you today. So therefore, there's a no bond on the charge.
That man didn't say it was a trafficking bond, though.
Well, the officer has it as a trafficking charge under Georgia law. So you'll get a chance to address that, or your attorney will get a chance to address the charge at your preliminary hearing that's scheduled for November the 28th. Okay, at 8:30 a.m. And then your bond hearing will be December 2nd, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Okay, so there's a no bond. You understand that? Okay, thank you. And then now I'll need Jerika. Also, Ms. Budget, Jerika Budget. There was a similar situation or the same situation with your warrant. So the officer has charged you with violation of OCGA 16-13-30J. Okay, that's considered a trafficking charge in the state of Georgia, which is a felony. Because I'm a magistrate court judge, I'm not authorized to set bond. Only a superior court judge can do that. So it's a no bond on your trafficking charge as well. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you'll get your preliminary. So your preliminary hearing is November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. And then your bond hearing will be December 2nd. If it's necessary, your bond hearing will be December 2nd, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that?
On the 28th, I come back and do like this again, and then they could give me
the process is a little bit different. So you are represented, I appointed a court-appointed attorney represent you. So generally what happens is that if you don't hire your own attorney, then the court-appointed attorney will appear at the preliminary hearing. And at the preliminary hearing, then that's when the officer is required to be present to testify to the warrant that he took out on you. And at that time, if it's a question about whether or not it's a trafficking charge, that will be addressed by your attorney. You understand that?
And then it's a potential to get a bond from there. 28th.
Yes.
Okay. And then what's December 2nd?
If the bond hearing is December 2nd, if it's not resolved at the preliminary hearing.
Okay, so if I don't get one on 28th, I'll come back on the 22nd and see you again. I mean, on the December 2nd and see you. Somebody else.
No. Will it likely be somebody from the court, from magistrate court, because we sit by designation as superior court judges too. So it will likely be one of the judges in magistrate court.
Okay.
On the bond hearing. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I apologize for the misunderstanding, but it's a no bond. Okay, thank you. Thank you, deputies. Okay, we're ready to continue to proceed forward with the next male inmate. I have it as David Lamar Hurd.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Hurd, you've been charged with 2 offenses. The first offense is simple battery. The bond amount is $4,000. And then the second charge is criminal trespass. Your bond amount is $2,500. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount?
Ma'am.
Okay, can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on your bond order. The first condition is you're to have no contact with the alleged victim in the case, identified as Martrez Thomason. Do you recognize that name?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who's that to you?
A friend.
Okay, because she's the alleged victim in the case, you must stay away, absolutely, directly, indirectly, by email, by mail, by pager, by text message, by social media, by telephone. You also cannot contact her through a third person or go to her home or workplace. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, because the alleged incident occurred at 6569 Homestead Road, Lot 9, Rex, Georgia 30273, you're not to return to that location while you're out on bond. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your primary residence?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing or keep it on the court's calendar?
You can
If you're
waive
unsure, then
Yes,
you can keep it on.
you can waive it. But can you tell me how much the whole bond is?
The whole bond is $6,000. So $4,000 for the simple battery. And then the criminal trespass charge is $2,500. So it's $6,500. So the criminal trespass charge is $2,500. You understand that?
Don't waive it. Don't waive the
Okay, don't waive it. Okay. And then you did complete a request for court-appointed counsel. Based on your application, you will qualify. Do you have any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, state your full name for me.
Tony Hill.
Mr. Hill, you've been charged with 3 offenses. The first offense is a criminal trespass charge. Your bond amount is $2,500. The second offense is battery. Your bond amount is $6,000. And then the second charge is driving on a suspended or revoked license. Your bond amount is $1,500. Therefore, your total bond amount is $10,000. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount? Do you understand the charges, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on your bond order. The first condition is you to have no contact with the alleged victim in the case, identified as Siobhan Hill. Do you recognize that name?
My wife.
Okay. Because she's the alleged victim, you must stay away, absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by pager, by text message, through social media, by telephone. You cannot contact her through a third person. You cannot go to her home or workplace. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, because the alleged incident occurred at 539 Sapphire Circle, Clayton County, Georgia, you're not to return to that location while you're out on bond. Is that your primary residence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if that's your primary residence, you'll need to make other arrangements. However, I will include a provision in the bond order that will allow you to make an appointment with the sheriff's office within 10 days of your release to retrieve any undisputed personal property at that location. You understand that?
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Okay, and then I've scheduled your, because it is a misdemeanor, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing or keep it on the calendar?
Keep on the calendar.
Okay. And then you did complete a request for court-appointed counsel. Based on your application, you will qualify, so I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good, blessed day.
You too.
How you doing, Your Honor? I hope you have a good morning.
How are you? Okay, state your full name for me.
My name is Cedric Christopher Jackson.
Mr. Jackson. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
I hope you're having a blessed morning over there.
I am very much so, sir. So, Mr. Jackson, you've been charged with 5 offenses. I'm sorry, 6 offenses. So the first offense is DUI less safe. Your bond amount is $5,000. The second offense is speeding in violation of Georgia law. Your bond amount is $2,500. Your third offense is violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Your bond amount is $5,000. The fourth offense is violation of Georgia seatbelt law. Your bond amount is $500. The fifth charge is distracted driving violation. Your bond amount is $1,000. And then for the last charge, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, your bond amount is $1,500. Therefore, your total bond amount is $13,500. Do you understand? Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amounts?
Yes, so you said 13,500?
Yes. Total.
I'm sorry?
Yes, total.
Total 13,50, right?
Let me see. Let me make sure I added it correct.
Oh, 13,500.
Let me add it up again, sir, because that's not adding up. Because it's 5,000 for the DUI, you got 5,000 for violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, and then you got 2,500 for the speeding. So that's 12.
Yes, ma'am.
14, 15. So it's 15. Actually, it's 15,500.
Oh, Liana, that's that right? I thought
Yeah.
it was like
No. So 5,000 for the DUI.
okay.
2,500 for the speeding. 5,000 for violation of Georgia Controlled Substance. So that's
Okay,
already
right
12,500. Okay.
All right, 12,500. Okay.
Okay. Then we got to add the seatbelt violation. That's 500.
Seatbelt violation 500. That make it 13, right?
Yeah, that make it 13. Okay. Then you got the distracted driving charge of 1,000.
Okay, that'll make it 14.
Okay, and then you got the possession of marijuana less than an ounce, that's 1,500.
So that's 15. That's 15.
1,500.
Okay.
Okay, can you make bond?
Possible, yes, ma'am.
And secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing or keep it on the calendar?
If I make bond, it waive it anyway, correct?
Yes, correct.
I'm gonna try to make bond, Your Honor, but if not, I would like to just keep it on the calendar.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, and then you did complete a request for court-appointed attorney. You do qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any other questions?
Ma'am.
No? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, state your full name for me, sir.
Marty Fonte Jones, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Jones, you've been charged with 3 offenses. The first offense is criminal damage in the first degree. Your bond amount is $4,000. The second offense is obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Your bond amount is $2,000. And then there's a third charge of driving without on a suspended or revoked license. Your bond amount is $1,500. So your total bond amount is $7,500. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount? You understand the charges, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on your bond order as well. The first condition is you're to have no contact with the alleged victim by the name of Dorian Reese. Do you recognize that name?
Yes, ma'am.
Because she's the alleged victim in the case, you must stay away absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by telephone, by text message, through social media. You cannot contact her through a third person. You cannot go to her home or workplace. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, because the alleged incident occurred at 764 Trailwood Drive, Riverdale, Georgia, 30294. 74. You're not to return to that location while you're out on bond. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your primary residence, sir? Is that location, the Trailwood address, is that your primary residence? Sir, do you hear the question?
Ma'am?
I said, is the Trailwood Drive location, is that your primary residence?
That's her place. I don't live there, ma'am.
Okay, just making sure. And then I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date, sir?
Yes.
And then you did complete an application for court-appointed counsel. Based on your responses, you would qualify, so I will approve an attorney to represent you. You have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, state your full name for me.
Demetrius Landers Jr.
Mr. Landers, you've been charged with 3 offenses. The first offense is possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Your bond amount is $1,500. The second offense is violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Your bond amount is $5,000. And then the second offense is tinted windows violation. Your bond amount is $500 for that one. So your total bond is $7,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amounts? Can you make bond?
I'm gonna try.
You're gonna try to make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. Also, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And it appears you did complete a request for court-appointed counsel. Based upon your application, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I will approve an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. And we're not waiving my preliminary, right?
Oh, no, I didn't waive because it's a you're charged with a felony.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, so that's gonna be your next court date. So no, I didn't ask you to waive it. Thank you. Okay, state your full name for the record for me.
Sean McCoy.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your name, sir.
Christopher Deshaun McCoy.
McCoy, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McCoy, you have been charged with 4 offenses. The first offense is use or possession of a drug-related item. The bond amount is $1,500. The second charge is violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. And let me just make sure that that's correctly stated on the bond. Yes. Violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. The bond amount is $5,000. The third charge, possession of a weapon during a crime. The bond amount is $10,000. And then the fourth charge is escape while being arrested. Your bond amount is $2,500. Therefore, your total bond amount is $19,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amounts?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And then based on your responses on your court-appointed application, you would qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, state your full name for me, sir.
Here it is, Amir McGowan.
Okay, Mr. McGowan, you've been charged with 1 offense of obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Your bond amount is $1,500. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am. Can you repeat the bond amount, please?
1,500, 1,500.
Okay.
Can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing or keep it on the calendar?
You can waive it, ma'am.
And you waive it, so if you want to waive, you'll need to get a form from the deputies to sign the waiver. You understand that? You understand you have to sign the waiver, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
You prepared to do that today? You prepared to sign your waiver today? You understand the question, sir?
You can just keep it on the calendar.
Okay, no problem. And I see you completed the application for a court-appointed attorney. Okay, based on your application, you will qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You have a good day.
You too.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yeah.
We have Mr. Bell down here. He's been causing the issue.
Okay, I can take it.
Yes, ma'am. Come on,
I'm ready.
Come on, she's ready. She's ready.
Mr. Bell? Okay, Mr. Bell, you've been charged with 2 offenses. The first offense is theft by shoplifting. Your bond amount is $2,000. The second offense is obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Your bond amount is $2,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $4,000. Do you understand the charge as well as your bond amount?
Larceny.
Yeah, so do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you did complete a request, or you did complete the request for court-appointed counsel. You refused. You don't need an attorney, sir? You're gonna hire your own? Sir, you're gonna hire your own attorney?
He does need one.
He does need one?
Yes, ma'am. He couldn't do the sheet because he's in the medical area.
Okay. So, sir, are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, where are you employed? And how much do you earn monthly? I didn't hear you. Can you just give me an estimate?
I can't give you, I mean, I said it varies. I can't give you
Well, can you give me the range? You can start with the lowest and then the range will be the highest. So the lowest you would make in a month would be what? Did you say 1,000? Mr. Bell? Okay, and then the highest you would make will be what? Maybe the highest you would make in a month will be how much? 2,000? Okay.
Right.
So based on that, you would qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I will appoint an attorney to represent you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, who's the next one? Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay. Spell your last name for me, sir.
Mercier.
Okay, spell it for me. Spell that for me. I want to make sure I have it correct. Spell your name for me.
Orel, O-R-E-L.
Okay.
Mercier, M-E-R-C-I-E-R.
Okay, that's what I have. Thank you, sir. Sir, you've been charged with 2 offenses. The first offense is criminal damage in the 2nd degree. Your bond amount is $4,000. The second offense is criminal trespass. Your bond amount is $2,500. Therefore, your total bond amount is $6,500. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount? You understand the charges, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you make bond?
Should be able to.
Okay. If you can make bond, there will be special conditions included on the bond. The first condition is you have no contact with an individual by the name of Leah Bay. That's B-A-D-E. Do you recognize that name?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because she's the alleged victim in the case, there's a no contact, which means you must stay away absolutely, directly, indirectly, by mail, by email, by pager, by text message, by social media, by telephone. You cannot contact her through a third person or go to her home or workplace. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Secondly, because the alleged incident occurred at 2406 Riverview Place, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30236, you're not to return to that location while you're out on bond. Is that your primary residence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if that's your primary residence, you'll need to make other arrangements. However, I will allow you to make an appointment with the sheriff's office within 10 days of your release to accompany you to that location to retrieve any undisputed personal property.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. That's your next court date because the criminal damage is a felony. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you did complete a request for court-appointed counsel. Based on your application, you would qualify for an attorney. So I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Craig Moses.
Mr. Moses, you've been charged with 3 offenses, primarily, let's see, 2 traffic violation, which means stop or failure to yield at a stop sign. Your bond amount for the first offense is $1,000. And then the second charge of failure to yield or stop is $1,000. And then the last charge is violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Your bond amount is $5,000. Therefore, your total bond amount is $7,000. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I've scheduled your preliminary hearing for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. You understand that's your next court date, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you did complete an application for court-appointed counsel. Based on your responses, you would qualify, so I will appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. One question. What's that court date again?
It's going to be November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom.
All right.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, state your full name for me, sir.
Joshua Rodney Riley.
Okay, Mr. Riley, you've been charged with 3 offenses. The first offense is driving on a suspended or revoked license. Your bond amount is $1,500. The second offense is driving too fast. The bond amount is $500. And then the last charge is obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Your bond amount is $2,000. Therefore, your total bond is $4,000. Do you understand the charges as well as your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you make bond?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I've scheduled your misdemeanor preliminary hearing for November the 29th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Would you like to waive the preliminary hearing or keep it on the court's calendar?
I'm sorry. Once I pay my
Bond, it will
will it-
automatically be, yeah, it'll be automatically be waived. You want to leave it on the calendar? Okay, no problem.
could you tell me my main court date as well?
No, that won't be scheduled until after you receive notice in the mail of your court date.
You meant like, can I tell you? I know I'm going to like 2 other jails after this one. So would it be like, if I miss it while I'm in jail, would it be my fault? Sure.
Well, generally, you you didn't complete because generally it's something your attorney could handle. So you didn't complete the request for court-appointed counsel. Are you planning to hire your own attorney?
No, ma'am. I was gonna handle it myself.
Okay, well, I can see if you qualify. I don't only have to ask you 2 questions to see if you qualify. You want to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do you have a job?
Yeah, I'm home and self-employed.
You self-employed? What is your monthly income? You can give me a range if you don't know exactly.
Like in between like 800 and 900 a month. That's bad. And like maybe 2,000 or maybe 1,500 or to like 1,500 a month on a past day. It's like a line service.
Okay, so you would qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I will appoint an attorney to represent you, and then your attorney can handle. They'll get notice of the charges and then contact you. But normally they can handle preliminary hearings. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Do you have any other questions?
Oh, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a blessed.
You too.
Your Honor.
Yes, we have the last inmate, correct?
Ma'am, if you give me a few minutes, we have to go get him.
I understand. No problem.
All right, thank you. Your Honor.
Bye-bye.
We have Mr. Vasquez here, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Afternoon, sir. We're officially back on the record. Please state your full name for me.
Vasquez.
So you've been charged with 3 offenses. The first offense is aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The second offense is possession of a weapon during a crime. And the third offense is cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Because of the nature of the charge, as well as the circumstances surrounding the charges, I am denying you bond today, sir. Your preliminary hearing will be scheduled for November the 28th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And then your bond hearing will be December 2nd, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand those 2 different hearing dates, sir? You understand you have 2 different hearing dates, sir?
You can write this down right here on that for me.
Okay. Secondly, you did not complete your request for court-appointed counsel. Therefore, I cannot approve an attorney for you unless you are willing to answer a few questions. Do you have an attorney to represent you in these matters, sir?
No, I would prefer it if one is appointed for me.
Okay, so if that's so, I'll need to ask you a few questions to see if you qualify. Okay. So my first question is, do you have a job?
I had a job. I'm no longer working, probably given the circumstances, but I was working up at a warehouse up in Morrow area.
And so you're currently unemployed, correct? When was the last time you was at work? Yes, yesterday?
Today? Today's
Thursday. It was Thursday. Okay. So I'm gonna put you. So are you required to go to work? Were you scheduled to be at work in the near future, or?
Yeah. I should return to work. Like today I should be at work.
Okay, so there is going to be a no bond. So yeah, it's likely that you probably won't remain employed. I'm not certain of that, but I'll just go ahead and put that you don't have a job, and so you will qualify for a court-appointed attorney. Do you have any other questions? Okay. Well, that will conclude your first appearance hearing for this morning, sir. Thank you.
Actually, I had a quick question about the lady. Is the lady okay?
I'm sorry, you had a question about the alleged victim? Yeah, that's not something I can answer, sir. Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day. So David, I think we only need did Miss Anderson, was it Miss Anderson? Did she sign the waiver? I'm finished with him. Okay, so if you can get that fax to me.
Yes, ma'am.
In the next 15 minutes, that would be great.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think that will conclude the calendar for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.